Most people move through existence assuming that the physical world, the world of objects, people, events, and circumstances, is solid, fixed, and unquestionable. But this assumption, comforting as it may be, is one of the most subtle illusions we carry. Reality, in truth, is a living, breathing construct of consciousness, and the world you perceive is a reflection of the inner workings of your own mind. Every thought you entertain, every belief you cling to, every emotion you nurture, these are not mere internal phenomena. They are forces that shape the contours of your experience, bending and weaving the events, people, and opportunities that appear around you. Time itself, which most of us take as absolute, linear, and relentless, is not a rigid arrow moving from past to future. Time is malleable, subjective, a reflection of your awareness interacting with the flow of existence. Moments can expand and contract, experiences can feel eternal or fleeting, not because of clocks or calendars, but because consciousness perceives them in certain ways. What feels like delay, like waiting, like suffering, is often simply a misalignment between your internal state and the external world. When your awareness shifts, your perception of time shifts, and suddenly what seemed solid and immutable begins to ripple like water disturbed by a stone. Space, too, is far from fixed. Objects do not exist in isolation, they exist in relationship, in resonance with everything else. Every particle, every wave of energy responds to consciousness. This is not merely metaphorical. Science, through quantum physics and the study of observation, demonstrates that the act of witnessing, of attention itself, collapses probabilities into manifestation. The world is not a stage where you passively play a role. You are both the actor and the stage, the observer and the event. The seemingly external universe is more accurately described as a dynamic mirror, reflecting the patterns of your own awareness back to you in forms you can interact with, interpret, and eventually learn to shape consciously. And yet, within this truth lies another layer, the shadow of perception. Most of what we perceive is filtered through conditioning, cultural programming, and unacknowledged emotions. The illusions that dominate human consciousness are not accidental. They are patterns that emerge from collective belief systems, fears, and unhealed traumas. The reality most people navigate is a shadow projection, a veil that conceals the infinite possibilities hidden beneath the surface. Dreams, coincidences, and the subtle synchronicities that slip through the cracks of ordinary awareness are glimpses of a reality not limited by the physical senses, a reality where cause and effect are orchestrated by consciousness itself. To see through this veil is not a trivial task. It requires attentiveness, curiosity, and courage, because the very foundation of everything you have assumed to be true is challenged. You begin to realize that what you called limits were not limits at all. They were self-imposed boundaries within a mind that had forgotten its own power. Your soul, the essence of your consciousness, is fluid, adaptive, and profoundly creative. Every emotion you feel, from joy to fear, is not just internal, it becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of reality. Your unspoken desires, your unconscious fears, your habitual thoughts, they all send ripples outward, subtly sculpting the experiences and events that seem to happen to you. The shadow, the unacknowledged, the unseen, these are the threads that tie your internal landscape to the external world. When you start tracing these threads, you begin to see patterns, cycles, and hidden connections that were always present but invisible. Life begins to feel less like random chance and more like a carefully coded interaction between your consciousness and the vast, responsive universe surrounding you. As you explore deeper, you may begin to notice that life itself has a language, symbols, signs, patterns that appear repeatedly until you awaken to their meaning. A chance encounter, a sudden disruption, a dream that feels unusually vivid. All these are communications from the unseen architecture of existence, hints of the hidden web connecting mind and matter. Every moment becomes an invitation to awareness, every experience a potential lesson in how consciousness shapes reality. This realization is not abstract or academic, it is profoundly practical. Once you internalize it, you can begin to approach life not as a series of uncontrollable events, but as a field of opportunities, as a canvas where your attention, your beliefs, and your inner state determine what emerges, what flourishes, and what fades. Understanding this truth, Understanding that reality itself is alive, responsive, and intimately connected to your consciousness is the first step toward reclaiming your creative power. It is also the moment when fear and awe coexist. Fear arises because we realize how much responsibility rests on the shoulders of consciousness. Awe arises because we glimpse the boundless potential that lies within. The physical world is no longer a cage, it is a responsive partner, a dynamic reflection of your inner state. To master this interaction is not about control in the conventional sense. It is about alignment, awareness, and the deliberate engagement with the hidden threads that weave the universe together. It is about learning to see the invisible patterns, to sense the hidden currents, and to realize that everything you experience is an opportunity to participate consciously in the creation of the world itself. Imagine for a moment that everything you take for granted as real, the solidity of objects, the reliability of events, even the predictability of people, is in fact not independent of your consciousness. The very act of perceiving, of observing, of giving attention, changes the nature of what you see. This is not metaphor. Quantum physics, long misunderstood as the domain of abstract science, has revealed a staggering truth. At the subatomic level, particles exist in a state of probability until observed. The universe itself does not settle into form until it is acknowledged. And if this is true for the tiniest building blocks of reality, can you not see how it might also be true for the larger patterns, the moments, encounters, and experiences that make up your life? The world is not merely something out there that happens to you. It is a dynamic, responsive web of energy, constantly shaped and reshaped by the awareness that interacts with it. But here lies the paradox. Most people live as if they are passive spectators in their own lives. They look at the world through a fog of habit, assumption, and distraction. They assume solidity, permanence, and inevitability, unaware that the moment they shift their attention, the world subtly shifts with them. Every glance, every focus, every decision, even those made unconsciously, leaves an imprint on reality. A small intention sent inward can ripple outward, producing effects that appear as coincidence, luck, or even fate. But these effects are in truth the visible results of consciousness at work. To truly see this is to confront the unsettling notion that you have been creating, whether consciously or not, the patterns of your life all along. The tension arises when you realize that what appears random, chaotic, or immutable is in fact malleable. Every challenge, every problem you encounter is not imposed externally, but reflects a misalignment between your inner state and the responsive universe. Life itself becomes a mirror, a kind of cosmic feedback system, constantly showing you the effects of your attention, your beliefs, and your emotions. The world does not test you, it reflects you. And this reflection is precise, intricate, and sometimes cruelly honest. When your awareness is fragmented, the universe mirrors that fragmentation. When your attention is fearful or reactive, the world appears unpredictable and hostile. And yet, when you begin to consciously observe, intentionally focus, and cultivate alignment, reality itself bends to your intent in ways that feel almost magical. Consider the subtle signs that many overlook: a fleeting synchronicity, a vivid dream that carries a warning, an uncanny coincidence that seems to defy logic. These are not accidents. They are the language of a universe that is aware, attentive, and responsive, a universe that mirrors consciousness with exquisite fidelity. To perceive them fully requires heightened awareness, curiosity, and the willingness to question everything you have assumed about reality. This is where the paradox deepens. The universe is both infinitely forgiving and infinitely precise. It does not judge, it does not punish, it simply responds. And yet, the quality of your perception determines the quality of the world that unfolds before you. A slight shift in focus, a subtle change in belief, can alter the course of events in ways that feel impossible, even miraculous, to those still trapped in the illusion of passive existence. And so, the observer paradox emerges in full clarity. You are simultaneously the witness and the catalyst, the perceiver and the creator. The line between inner and outer reality blurs. The boundary you assumed existed between you and the world is revealed to be porous, malleable, a responsive interface of consciousness. Every thought, every intention, every emotion is a signal sent into the matrix of existence, reverberating outward, shaping probabilities, and giving rise to experiences that feel as real and as inevitable as gravity itself. To fully grasp this is both exhilarating and terrifying. Exhilarating because it grants access to unimaginable creative power, and terrifying because it removes the comforting illusion that life is happening to you rather than being co-authored by you at every moment. This paradox is not merely intellectual, it is experiential. It manifests in the uncanny, the strange, the moments that bend perception, the sudden insight that solves a problem you've wrestled with for years, the precise sequence of events that seems too perfect to be coincidence, the inner knowing that aligns with an outer reality in ways that cannot be explained by logic alone. These are the signs that the observer effect is at work in your life, that consciousness is not just a passenger but the unseen architect of experience. And once you begin to notice this, once you start tracing the subtle feedback loops between perception and reality, your entire understanding of existence begins to shift. You realize that the world is not a static stage, not a collection of random events, not a series of immutable laws. It is a living, responsive matrix, waiting for your conscious participation to awaken, align, and transform it. The truth you are about to confront is not small, and it is not abstract. It is enormous, and it reaches into every corner of your life, even the ones you have never examined. You are not merely a passenger moving through a pre-existing reality. You are not simply reacting to circumstances, trying to manage the chaos of the world. You are far more than that. You are both the observer and the creator, the architect and the builder, the consciousness that perceives and the energy that manifests. Every thought, every belief, every subtle shift in your attention sends a ripple through the unseen fabric of existence, shaping the world in ways that are precise, intricate, and profoundly consequential. The universe is not outside you. It is a reflection, a response, a mirror of the inner architecture of your awareness. To understand this is to awaken to a level of power that is rarely spoken of, because it is so easy to overlook. Most people operate in a reactive state, their minds and emotions pulled by patterns they do not fully recognize. Their reality appears solid, fixed, and outside of their influence. But what feels fixed is often only the projection of long-held beliefs, fears, and unconscious expectations. These patterns solidify into habits, repeating themselves in subtle ways, guiding life with invisible threads. Until the observer becomes aware that these threads are not imposed from the outside, they emerge from within. Your inner state is not separate from the outer world. It is the matrix of causality itself, orchestrating events, encounters, and circumstances in alignment with the focus, energy, and clarity of your consciousness. Every moment of your life has been a demonstration of this principle, whether you recognized it or not. Every coincidence is a message, every alignment a reflection of your internal resonance. Every challenge, every unexpected twist, every sudden loss or gain is the universe echoing back the patterns you are holding internally. The mind may seek to separate me from the world, to insist that these events are outside of its control, but the deeper truth is unmistakable. You have been shaping your reality all along. And once you perceive this, once you truly allow yourself to feel it in the marrow of your being, the rules of life change. The world stops being a passive environment and becomes an active canvas, infinitely responsive to the subtle guidance of awareness. The architect within does not operate through brute force or external control. Creation is never about trying harder, struggling more, or manipulating circumstances. It is about alignment, resonance, and deliberate attention. When you shift your consciousness, when you quiet the noise of distraction, release the fear that constricts you, and focus on the deepest intentions of your soul, the universe bends with surprising grace, forming pathways, opening doors, and delivering opportunities in ways that seem impossible to the uninitiated. Thought, emotion, and intention are not inert. They are living forces, shaping energy fields that organize the patterns of existence into tangible results. The world itself becomes a responsive system, awaiting the alignment of your inner state with your deepest awareness. Yet, with great power comes great subtle responsibility. The architect within does not create in isolation. Every thought, belief, and feeling contributes to a collective matrix, a network of interwoven consciousness that shapes the experience of others as well as yourself. Ignorance of this fact often leads to suffering, because unacknowledged fears, limiting beliefs, or unresolved shadow energies are projected outward, manifesting challenges that seem unfair or arbitrary. Awareness, therefore, is not optional. It is essential. To become conscious of your role as creator is to step into a space of profound responsibility and extraordinary freedom simultaneously. You begin to see that no external obstacle can truly limit you, because the true limitations are internal. The narratives, judgments, and unexamined beliefs that have unconsciously guided the formation of your life until now. And here lies the liberation. When you fully awaken to your inner architecture, you begin to interact with reality not as a victim, but as a conscious participant, as a co-creator of the unfolding universe. You stop waiting for external validation, external events, or external control. You recognize that the hidden scaffolding of existence, those subtle energies, probabilities, and invisible threads, responds to the quality of your awareness. Fear dissolves not because the world changes, but because you recognize your own power to shape it. Limitation ceases not because circumstances improve, but because your perception and focus redefine what is possible. The world becomes a reflection of your mastery of consciousness, a living, breathing testament to the subtle, invisible, yet absolute authority you hold as the architect within. The deeper you explore this, the more profound the implications become. Life itself is a language, written in patterns of energy, consciousness, and resonance. To read it consciously is to participate in the most sacred act imaginable, the creation of reality from the inside out. Every moment offers the possibility of realignment, every thought carries potential energy, every emotion sends signals into the unseen framework of existence. You are not powerless. You are not subject to chance. You are a living, dynamic force, capable of orchestrating the unseen, influencing the manifest, and participating in the creation of life in ways that most people cannot even imagine. To awaken to this truth is to step into a reality of infinite possibility, where the matrix is no longer a trap, but a playground for consciousness itself. This is where philosophy and mysticism become intimate, where the vast cosmic truths of consciousness meet the personal, messy, and beautifully human reality of your life. The concepts we've explored, the responsive universe, the observer effect, the architecture of consciousness, are not abstract ideas meant to remain in the realm of thought. They are alive, pulsating within your own experience, waiting for recognition. Every sigh, every heartbeat, every fleeting emotion you feel is part of a vast dialogue between your inner world and the outer reality. Even the moments of despair, confusion, or frustration you experience are not random or meaningless. They are mirrors, reflections of misalignments within your consciousness, invitations to observe, understand, and shift. The universe is speaking to you constantly, and the language it uses is subtle, precise, and intimate. Think of the times you have felt a deep, unexplainable connection with another person, a place, or even a moment in time. Perhaps a song touched your soul in a way that seemed orchestrated, or a chance encounter led to a life-changing opportunity. Perhaps you had a dream that seemed impossibly real, yet carried guidance or insight that transformed your perspective. These are not accidents. They are glimpses of the underlying architecture of reality, showing you that consciousness is not separate from the world, it is inseparable from it. The boundaries you perceive between you and everything else are not solid walls, they are porous membranes, alive with energy, resonance, and communication. You are always interacting with the universe, and the universe is always interacting with you. Every thought, every feeling, every subtle shift in attention sends a signal outward, shaping events, relationships, and experiences in ways that are often invisible but profoundly real. At the same time, this truth is profoundly human. It recognizes your vulnerability, your longing, and your need for connection. The realization that you are a co-creator of reality can be exhilarating, but it can also feel overwhelming. How can one person's awareness influence the vastness of the universe? The answer lies not in trying to control everything, but in recognizing the subtle, intimate ways in which your inner state interacts with life. Your presence, your attention, your choices, even when unseen by others, send ripples into the matrix of existence. You affect the world simply by existing consciously. Every act of kindness, every moment of clarity, every deliberate act of awareness is a contribution to the living fabric of reality. You are not insignificant. You are both deeply human and cosmically powerful at the same time. The human connection is also about empathy and resonance. When you recognize that your inner state shapes the outer world, you begin to see that other people are also projecting and reflecting their consciousness. Conflicts, misunderstandings, and frustrations are often the result of misaligned perceptions colliding, but alignment is possible. Compassion, patience, and understanding are not only virtues, they are practical tools for harmonizing the threads of consciousness that weave through life. By nurturing your own awareness, you naturally influence the collective field in subtle but profound ways. You become a node of coherence, a source of clarity in a world that often feels chaotic and fragmented. And in these moments of awareness, the mystical becomes profoundly personal. You realize that life itself is a dialogue, an ongoing exchange between your inner consciousness and the responsive universe. The power to influence is always at your fingertips, but it begins with the intimate act of turning inward, observing yourself without judgment, and understanding the patterns, beliefs, and emotions that have been quietly shaping your experience. When you do this, you are not just learning about life, you are participating in the sacred act of conscious creation. Every glance, every thought, every intention becomes a thread in the tapestry of existence, weaving together the personal, the human, and the cosmic into a seamless whole. This connection also offers solace. You are not alone in your experiences, your struggles, or your awakening. Every human being, whether aware or unaware, is participating in the same process of reality creation. By seeing this, by feeling it, by acknowledging it in your own life, you step into a profound intimacy with existence itself. The universe is not distant. It is not indifferent. It is not passive. It is alive, responsive, and intimately engaged with you in every moment. And when you recognize this, when you feel it with the clarity of direct experience, you are no longer just a participant in life. You are a conscious collaborator with the vast, living reality that surrounds you, shaping it with every heartbeat, thought, and intention. If you have felt the stirrings of recognition in the previous chapters, the subtle awareness that reality is not fixed, that consciousness shapes the world, then you are now standing at the threshold of initiation. This is not a dramatic, cinematic awakening. It is quiet, subtle, intimate, yet profoundly transformative. It begins with a choice: to observe without judgment, to witness without interference, and to step fully into the role of conscious participant in the unfolding of existence. Most people move through life in reaction, swept along by habit, fear, and external circumstances. They believe that control lies in doing more, acquiring more, or pushing harder against the world. But the secret of true power, of mystical influence, lies not in force. It lies in alignment, in observation, and in the deliberate engagement of consciousness with the fabric of reality itself. The initiation begins with the simple, radical act of awareness. Begin by observing your thoughts as though they are not your own, watching the flow of ideas, judgments, fears, and assumptions without immediately reacting. Notice the patterns that repeat, the narratives that dominate your inner world. What you observe is not merely noise, it is the blueprint from which your life experiences are being drawn. Each thought carries a subtle vibration, each emotion sends ripples into the matrix of existence, each intention sets into motion probabilities that shape the events and circumstances around you. To witness this is to reclaim a measure of sovereignty over your life. The universe responds not to frantic effort, but to clarity, coherence, and conscious alignment. From here, you can move to deliberate cultivation. Begin to notice the subtle energies that guide your focus. What do you attend to most consistently? What inner stories do you feed with your attention and belief? Fear, doubt, and self-limitation are all forms of energy that project outward, forming the reality that mirrors them. Conversely, clarity, focus, and aligned intention activate pathways in the matrix that support growth, synchronicity, and possibility. This is not magic in the superficial sense. It is the application of consciousness as an organizing force. Every thought, feeling, and intention is a signal that the universe reads, responds to, and manifests. And so, The initiation is not a single event. It is an ongoing practice, a process of becoming deeply attuned to the interplay between inner awareness and external manifestation. One of the most subtle but essential aspects of this awakening is trust. The universe does not rush, and it does not resist your engagement. Every synchronicity, every meaningful encounter, every pattern that appears is part of a conversation, a dialogue between your consciousness and the responsive reality surrounding you. By cultivating patience and attention, you begin to sense the hidden currents that guide events, interactions, and opportunities. You start to feel the invisible architecture of existence, the threads that connect thought, emotion, and circumstance. And in this sensing, you discover a new form of power. The ability to navigate life not through reaction, but through conscious creation, guided by the alignment of your inner state with the field of possibility. The initiation of awareness is ultimately a call to personal responsibility and freedom. It asks you to recognize that the world you experience is not imposed upon you, it is co-created by you. This realization can be overwhelming at first, because it shatters the comforting illusions of passivity and external control. But within this realization lies liberation. You are no longer waiting for circumstances to change or for external forces to grant permission. You're already empowered. You're already a co-creator in the living matrix of reality. The universe is attuned to your awareness, and it responds to the frequency, clarity, and intentionality of your consciousness. This is the initiation. The understanding that you are not separate from life, not powerless, and not a mere observer. You are a conscious architect, capable of subtle influence and profound creation. As you embrace this practice, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Every interaction, every event, every seemingly insignificant moment becomes an opportunity to test and refine your awareness. You begin to notice patterns you never saw before, coincidences that feel like guidance, and shifts that align with the intentions you hold most clearly. Life is no longer a random sequence of challenges, luck, or circumstance. It is a dynamic, responsive living system, interacting with your consciousness at every level. The initiation of awareness is ongoing. It is an art, a science, and a mystical discipline. Each day, each moment, each breath is an invitation to consciously participate in the co-creation of your reality, to awaken fully to your role as both observer and architect, and to step more deeply into the invisible, yet unmistakably real, power that lies within. And so the cycle completes. Reality, once solid, becomes liquid. Time, once linear, becomes fluid. The physical world is no longer an external prison, but a canvas of infinite possibility. You move through life not as a passenger, but as the unseen hand guiding the brushstrokes of creation. What you have experienced is both ordinary and extraordinary, familiar and terrifying. You have glimpsed the hidden code, the invisible architecture, the eternal dialogue between consciousness and matter. And as you continue to live, continue to breathe, continue to observe, you will sense the subtle hum of the universe responding, bending, and opening. The matrix is real, and it waits not to trap you, but to awaken you. Every moment is an opportunity to witness, to create, to become.